All right, hello to the SEO Insider podcast. My name is Raulf. I'm the founder of Boulder SEO Marketing. I'm super excited to have Kelley of Silent Beacon with me in this podcast. Kenny, we met, gosh, it was about 2 months ago. We were on the Design Rush podcast together, where we talked about scaling an agency. And we had a really interesting conversation. I did learn a lot from you. One thing that intrigued me was that you actually owned, or you still own, an agency, an SEO agency, but you did it 360, you went into a totally different field. I think after surviving a life-threatening motorcycle crash. So with that intro, uh, please introduce yourself. What in the world happened? Just give us the big picture overview, and then we'll talk about, entrepreneurship, SEO, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, who are you?
Yeah, sure. So, well, thank you for having me, number one. A pleasure to see you again, and I'm glad we could make this work. So, my name is Kenny Kelley. I am an entrepreneur by heart, and in my past life, I was a motorcycle stuntman. And when I got into a motorcycle accident, I started to kind of see the need for safety devices, safety products. But before I kind of moved to that, I owned an agency that would focus on kind of getting people's rankings up, or people that had kind of been in situations that might not have shed them in the best light, and then how to kind of bring them to a better light, but doing it legitly, right? Not no tricks up my sleeve, just kind of how we can use the momentum that you can naturally get to be successful. So from there, I retired as kind of a stuntman, created an application, created the Silent Beacon company and device. And then from there, kind of navigated to B2B, and then in full circle, kind of bring my knowledge, understanding with my SEO hat, and kind of bring that into the ring to teach my marketing team, right? I didn't have to bring in senior marketing reps. I could bring in kind of people straight out of college and be like, look, I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to teach you everything I know. And then you go out there and kind of mix and mingle that information to get us the best results.
Awesome. And then are you still running the agency, the SEO agency? Is that something in the past?
No, I still do that. We still have Fancy Name Studios is the name of the company. We do SEO. Mostly it's for kind of families and business associates, because it is, as you know, time consuming, and I don't have too much time these days. So it's kind of picking and choosing my projects to be able to offer what I think the world needs.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's going to be a very interesting conversation. So let's talk about from stunts to startups, right? So you had a fascinating career path from Hollywood stuntman to founding both an agency, SEO agency, and Silent Beacon. And by the way, I'm going to put all the links that we're mentioning here, the companies, below in the description field of the YouTube video. So, what key lessons did you learn in the high octane world of stunt work that have translated to your entrepreneurial endeavors, particularly in navigating the risks and rewards of building a business?
You know, that's a good question. A lot of the kind of risk reward I learned was later, and it was due to all those potholes in that first company, right? So at that time, I might have thought I had the answers and the correct kind of algorithm to decide what can decipher a failure and success. But it really took all those potholes to take it to the next company, right? So it was starting a company, growing a company, and then when you go to the next one, you're able to kind of, okay, I know where the potholes are going to be. And then even the third company and fourth company, you kind of build up this kind of, thought process on how to navigate around that. So the risk reward on the first one, I think any parallels is more personality related, right? It's understanding, personalities you're either dealing with or you need on your team to be successful, and then kind of navigating how that's going to work out through the process. So you talk to a company about possibly doing stunt work, you know, you're getting a read off of them of what they might be looking for, and then you're picking the guys on your other end that might be suitable for that. So then later in life, when you're making your teams, your development team, your firmware team, your software team, your hardware team, you're kind of picking the personalities you know are going to work best with the other vendors. Because as we know, you can have one vendor that you're like, wow, this company's great, and another one, but they got to work together now, right? So are those personalities going to clash? So you kind of see who's laid back, who's uptight, and kind of mix and match to make sure those relationships work well. So that from my first company as kind of the stuntman has brought, helped me evolve into who I am today.
Wow, interesting. So running an SEO agency, so reflecting back on that time and looking at today's landscape, like what were the most significant shifts you saw then? And how do you see the rise of AI fundamentally changing the core strategies needed for organic growth now? Are you doing a lot with AI? I remember when we did the Design Rush podcast, like I spoke a lot about AI. What is your take on AI? How is it impacting the work that you do? And also, not just on the SEO side of things, but at Silent Beacon, like, do you guys use AI or how do you guys use AI?
Yeah, sure. So I think the shift that I've seen, it's just learning the rules of Google and all these companies, right? So as you go through it, you think you have something down, you think you understand how it works. Like I think we talked about before, like, in the early days, I could just repeat the same word as I'm repeating the same word, and now I'm going to come up in the rankings because I've said word 30 times in the paragraph. And then you have to get more complicated, and it gets kind of, you've got to learn the algorithm and learn how it plays nicely. And I guess you can take courses and look on YouTube too, but it really takes a professional such as you to kind of be able to decipher that at any given moment because it's so complex and it keeps changing. And then how AI has played a part now. I mean, I've got to give you credit here because when we talked before, I wasn't really big. I mean, I'm big on the concept of AI and where it's going to go, but I don't like to be the one, they say the settlers are the ones that have the arrows in their back, right? I didn't want to be the
Mhm.
one to spend the next 2 years trying to learn it like I did HTML when it first came out. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, in WordPress when it came out, I can spend the rest of my life trying to learn these new programs and being on the bottom floor, or I can say, okay, let me see how it shapes our industry and then kind of pick and choose. So I think with AI, I waited for leaders like you to say, yep, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is why it's beneficial. And since we talked, I mean, I've just been coming up with prompts in different ways and trying to figure out how the algorithm works. So I've been a madman ever since it. So it takes someone like you or a company like yours to incite that fire in me that now's the time. Now there's not going to be like, oh, well, that's the 3.0. Like that doesn't work as well. Like now I think it's in a great place that you can utilize those tools for your own SEO needs. And that's what I've been doing. I try not to get too carried away because I don't know if you've seen this, but with job interviews, right? I can see people reading right off the screen and the
Oh.
answers they get. One that was so funny the other day, Chris, it was if someone said, and in summary, and I'm like, and in summary? No one says and in summary in a job interview. So he's just like,
Yeah.
they're so scared to like get it wrong and they assume everybody else is doing that. So why AI should be a tool to like maybe prep you, like, oh, I have a meeting today on Riverside to go over this, maybe give you a couple pointers. You don't want to read off the prompter, right? You've got to come from the heart. People can tell, people can see who's phony. So utilizing AI correctly and kind of letting the leaders show me the way is how we kind of went about it. But yeah, I'm all in on AI right now as far as SEO and figuring out the right prompts and the right things to tell it so we can get the results we want.
Man, very interesting topic, or like what you just discussed. So I was one of the early adapters. I think 2 months after ChatGPT was launched, I was asked to give a webinar for a localization and globalization association on how AI is impacting global digital marketing, right? Man, I had to watch, I think, 120 hours of YouTube videos. Luckily, I found all the right information, the right conferences. So ever since I have been, extremely interested in AI and how it's impacting SEO, but I think you're spot on. It's a lot of work, right? And we have developed an AI tool now, so we're like the pioneers that are, I guess, driving this forward. I think we're now sort of getting to the phase where, yeah, like, companies like yours are going to be able to pick and choose the tools, the best practices that are going to work for you. So I agree, man, the last 2 years, 2+ years, very exhausting because nobody has a clue where, what this stuff is, how it's working, where to go. So I think we're getting into this phase where now, on the SEO side of things, agencies, they can just pick and choose the right kind of tools they want to work with. So yeah, just a note on what you just said. What about that silent beacon? Is that impacting your industry? Are you dealing with AI?
So I think it's good on aggregating data and being able to kind of explain what you see in the dashboard to kind of the end user or the clients who might not be able to absorb all that information at once when they're just staring at an oversized dashboard with everything going off. So we are trying to utilize that to kind of connect that to an email template that will then give them like a daily output of just important things for them, and then be able to kind of read patterns and trends to be able to give them the information they want versus having to sort through all these things. So we are trying to use it where, we're trying to come up with the right tools, the right prompts, the right methods of kind of creating something that will work. But again, like you're saying, it's still at its infancy, even though it's been around for a couple of years. So it's just
Yeah.
growing so fast. You kind of got to grab onto the pieces that make sense, and they're ever changing, right? It's a very fluid thing, like tech in general. So we are trying to find the right tools to utilize, and then make sure that they were going to fit like the next 2 to 5 years, and not in a year from now, like, oh, we don't do that anymore. Here's a new thing. And then it's like, wait, I just hired somebody for that. So coming up with kind of like a timeline of what we think will stay the same for a couple of years, and then where we think things are just going to take off completely. So we're not kind of nailed down to this one idea or one process that might evolve.
Okay, awesome. So talking about your business, let's talk about Silent Beacon's digital strategy. Can you elaborate on the role that digital marketing and SEO in particular have played in the growth and success of Silent Beacon? Like what specific strategies have proven most effective in reaching your perfect target audience and establishing Silent Beacon as a leader in personal safety technology? Are you doing, you're an SEO pro yourself. Are you doing pay-per-click as well? Like, tell me more about the digital strategy
Yeah,
that helped. Yeah.
I'll start at the beginning. So when we started like 2014, 15, much simpler times. I wanted safety app, right? I
Yeah.
wanted I wanted personal safety products. So I was number one for all those. So for years and years and years, I got to exactly where I wanted to be. But then, my duties, I have to now focus on other parts of the company. I was the CTO for a while. I stepped down as president, became the CTO before going into the CEO role. So wearing those different complicated hats, I couldn't spend all the time I wanted on there. So it was kind of a delicate dance to keep that up there at that time. And we would even go to companies, and I always had like a funny name for them because they would always fail, right? Not the companies like yours, but these kind of like pay to play click, like, oh, we'll get you here, we'll get you here. And
Uh,
kind of cut and pasting different prompts that, they were using like search terms that could get us in trouble, trademarked terms in the industry.
oh my God. Yeah.
It wasn't effective at all. It was hurting us. Um, so it was kind of a delicate dance. And then I think now we're at a position where we do some pay to play, right? For keywords that we want to keep up there, when we know, even though we're number one or two or three or four, our competitor is going to pop up when you type in that keyword. So we still want to bump them out of that position and keep ourselves up there. So now panic button for businesses is huge. Panic button for offices. Panic button, just the word. So we're on the front page for all of that, but because it's such stiff competition, you got to kind of keep tweaking it and obviously using AI and things like that. So why I don't particularly enjoy paid advertisement is because I think it's kind of neutering your ability to get up there organically. And if you're giving someone like a quick top floor elevator button, your content's never going to get up there because you're just like top floor, top floor. You're out of money, bottom floor, bottom floor. So to kind of have like, a bunch of buttons to choose from is, I think, healthier in the long run for companies, especially smaller and middle-sized companies, right? So you
Yeah.
kind of have a little kind of nest of paid to kind of keep you relevant, keep that in the consumer's mind. Oh, I saw Silent Beacon. Oh, I saw Silent Beacon. But then you're still on that page one, right, from all your SEO work. So it's like, oh, okay. Not only is it an ad, they're credible. They're up here. Like, let's click them. Let's find out more information. And then you couple that with all the blogs, the backlinks. It kind of gives you this kind of robust landing page that is helpful to get conversions.
Awesome. Are you doing any kind of influencer marketing, especially in your space? I could see that, there may be some influencers that could drive traffic. Anything else besides paid and organic?
Yeah, so that's a great point too. So in October 2024, the FCC finally passed this regulation that says so as a business owner, I cannot tell anyone to go rate rate my company. I can't tell them to go give me a 5-star review. I am now kind of muted in that. Same
Wow.
thing with influencers. Now, I'm sure it's still going to happen, right? But influencers now cannot talk about a product from a company if they were paid to do so and say, "Oh, wow, this is a great product, 5 stars." So there's a whole new thing. It's like 98 pages. Our lawyer wrote us this whole packet on it, what we can do and can't do, because obviously when we play the onesie twosies, which I consider the consumer market, people just buying one or two, right? You want that kind of good review, and the squeakiest wheel gets the oil. So you have people complain when they can't figure it out, give us 1 star. We usually have to, here we're going to walk you through. We have tech support, we have customer service, we have all this stuff. Please, 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 like, can you change your review? You can't say that anymore. So now we have to walk that delicate balance of, how do you keep customers happy? How do you let people know that the 1 stars are a one-off from someone who's upset? And then how do you kind of bandage that all together without these tactics that now are looked, you can get fined from the FCC. So we try to do things where we just respond to the customer directly, whether it's on Amazon or through our website, email them, never bring up reviews, wait till the problem is solved, and then say, hey, if you found this helpful, it would be nice, it would help us if you were able to leave us a review. But you can't say, here's $25 for 5-star review. All that is gone, and you will go bankrupt if you get caught by the FCC. So
Wow.
that is a delicate dance along with SEO now, right? It's all kind of, as you see with privacy laws, as more and more consumers get protected, from fake reviews and all these other things, we have to dance more carefully around all these subjects.
Interesting. What does your marketing team look like? How many people are there? What do they do?
So we have 2 internal resources and we have 2 outside teams. We have an SEO team that I work with because I don't have the time anymore. And it's kind of like a player coach. I'm kind of telling them, I know you're the company we're paying. I'd probably do this, right? So it's kind of helping them. I guess it's more of like an internship. But and then we have a company called On the Mark Media that helps us with all our like PR, all our press, our media, kind of getting us out there. So we kind of have those 2 collaborations working simultaneously with our internal marketing team. So any day will be me contacting RJ, who is our marketing guy, saying, hey, I think we need to put a blog about this. I just read this article. Boom, boom, boom. And then we kind of fit that into SEO, and we kind of fit that into, can we find a path to market this out there, whether it's news or whether it's local or the local business journal or whatever it is. So we kind of, it's like a 3-headed monster, right? Trying to attack 3 points at once on one subject to kind of give the full picture for people.
Very cool. Let's talk about navigating the evolving SEO landscape with AI. So, given the constant evolution of search engines, and we just had Google I/O happen, I think last week. So, particularly with the integration of AI and generative search experiences, what advice do you have for businesses trying to maintain visibility? What do you see as the biggest SEO challenges and opportunities presented by AI in the coming years? Are you already seeing that people find you in these AI overviews that Google is now slapping on top of the organic search results? Are you seeing are you getting traffic from like ChatGPT? Just big
Yeah.
picture, what do you think? How is that going to evolve? How it's going to impact your business?
So I think for our business, because we're kind of ahead of the curve, it should be all right. Uh, I would say to businesses out there, you need to be careful because I think there's a lot of companies that are going to pop up offering you things that they can't deliver on, whether it's, saying that they have access to certain tools that other people don't. So it's really kind of, staying ahead of the game, listening to podcasts like this, understanding what's in the know right now, and being able to kind of navigate correctly through that. So one of the biggest probably hurdles with Chat GPT, I would say, is even though you can feed it information, if you don't kind of cross-reference it and check it yourself, you might be in for a rude surprise, right? So while it's trying to gather the most relevant information, it's only gathering what it's been fed or what it understands. And there might be something out there that someone's discovered, like Chris, that would be able to kind of put that into a better perspective. So use Chat GPT, you know, it's a very viable tool, but if you don't cross-reference things you're doing, you might end up in a situation where you didn't word something correctly or it interpreted it differently, and then that might set you back 3 to 6 months, right? So it's a like all of this, like we're saying, it's the delicate dance, and I think one of the main things is just to be strong on Chat GPT or strong on OpenAI or strong on all these platforms coming out, but understand that you probably need that human aspect to cross-reference, to cross-check, that you want the doctor to come in and make sure, okay, I know the nurse said there's no cavities, but let me just take a peek here and tell you how the health is. And I think that's important. And I think that's where people like you come in. And when I'm in Fancy Name Studios, it's you kind of have the doctor there to be like, you have an idea of what's going on, but I think we can set you in the right direction.
I mean, man, things are changing so fast. So I guess just summarize, how do you see technology in general further shaping the landscape of like personal and enterprise safety solutions, and what role in general will digital marketing play in educating consumers, driving adoption of these innovations? Are you foreseeing that you may have to be on TikTok, on new platforms that are going to evolve, knowing your customer base? If you can look 2, 3 years into the future, like where is this going? Where is this technology going? Where is, give us a prediction of what's going to happen in the future and how is it going to impact your business?
So I think as far as safety devices and enterprise kind of business solutions, the old problem was the education part, right? It was when I would have to sit in there in board meetings with a bunch of older men, and I'd say, "You need a panic button," and they'd just laugh and be like, "My phone will call 911," right? Now we
Yeah.
find no criminal's going to let you call 911, right? So the education process is gone. It's making sure you're readily available for people to absorb information. So it's making sure you're out there with your blogs, with your social media. But as far as the technology itself is going, you know, the reason we chose Bluetooth, which our panic button is Bluetooth, it's not its own cellular, although we have one of those coming out as well. It's because we're betting that the $60 billion that Apple and Google, right, Android and your iPhone spend each year on R&D is going to be the best solution for all of us. So while I could get a cellular product and say, "Oh, cool, I can tap buttons on it. This is the best safety product," no one's gonna outbeat the iPhone, right? No independent company selling you a personal emergency response. So we're in the backpack of those companies right now. And I just see that getting better and better as precise location comes into play, XYZ coordinates come into play, privacy for consumers comes into play. So I really think the fact that we're kind of bundled essentially with these great companies that are making the best products for the consumer allows us to kind of evolve with them. And then on our end, personally, right? We make our designs smaller. We add fall detection. We add kind of all these bells and whistles and features that will continue to serve our customers. And how we do it normally is that let's just say we have a client with 300 users. We've got feedback from the nurses that they think, it would be better if, you press this button and it makes it silent. Okay, well, you know what? We did that. So now there's a silent mode right on here and you don't have to go into the app. So we try to be fluid, evolve with our customers. So that the trajectory of this, if you say 3 to 5 years, I think we just get smaller, we get simpler to use, and we still use the catalyst of iPhone and your Android to kind of present this to the world, to cast that net of safety, right? It calls 911, it lets your loved ones know where you are, it sends your GPS location. It's all, you're already paying for that. So why pay a ton extra money for this? You've already got the technology, and we're just going to continue to ride that backpack.
Awesome. All right, let's do a quickly rapid fire. So just answer super quick, right? To round it out here. Beach or mountain
H.
vacation? Wine or beer?
Liquor.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
All right, if you had to choose SEO or personal safety business to be in, pick one.
Personal safety.
All right, perfect. Cool. Hey, Kenny, thanks so much. That was fun. A second conversation. I again learned a lot. Yeah, I wish you all the best with your business. If you have one more tip in terms of somebody just thinking about starting out a new business, whether it's like starting an SEO agency or a safety device business, like big picture advice, what would that be? The one piece of advice that you want us to part here with?
Don't tell people what they need. Listen to what they want.
I love it. Cool. Kenny, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on this podcast. I look forward to our next conversation. Again, Chris Raulf here with Boulder SEO Marketing. Links below in the description field of the YouTube video. Cool. Thank so much, Kenny. We'll talk soon, huh?
Thank you. Bye, guys.